So this is the website that you're going to go to, which is PowToon.com. And you'll notice up in the corner, mine has my username. You all will be creating your own, and you could just link it with your Google account. It's really easy to create your own account, but you will have to create one. I'm going to show you how to make a blank PowToon today. There are other types of PowToons where they kind of have things already set up for you, but sometimes it's a little harder with your narration to kind of make things work. So I would choose to make one from scratch. So click on that. All right. So there are different looks that you can have for your PowToon. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of whatever you like the best. So let's choose just the cartoon look. And you'll see that that look shows up over here. But this is the general layout of your video. You'll notice on the left-hand side that it says Add Slide right here. This is your first slide. And every slide has a certain length of time for it. So this slide, if you look down here, this is your sort of timeline down here. So this slide will be showing for the first 10 seconds of your video. Now, depending on your narration, you can actually add seconds onto it. So if I click this, you'll notice just above here, it goes up to 13, 14, 15 seconds. And I'll show you here in a little bit why you would want it to go longer or why you would want it to be shorter. So the first thing that you all are going to do is record your narration. So if you go to sound, you click on that, you'll notice that you can add a voiceover, and you can also add music. So if you have free music somewhere, you could do that too. It's up to you. But if you click add voiceover, this will pop up and you can actually record whatever it is you want to say. All right, so right now I will do a recording for you, and we'll actually use that for the PowToons. So we'll press it. It'll count down. Hi, my name is Mrs. Gates, and this is my PowToons. You're going to stop it. You can even play it back for yourself. Hi, my name is Mrs. Gates, and this is my PowToons. All right, so some of you may have been able to hear it, some may not, but that was my voiceover. And what you're going to notice, let's save that. You can give it a name, whatever you want. And then it's going to actually go over here to your voiceover. So if you click it, these are all the voiceovers that I have created so far. All right, and you get to choose which one that you want to use. So I have a couple here. There's one that I've created before. You can actually try it out and see what it says.
A PowToon is an animated video, like the one you're watching right now. It takes time to make these, but they're far more creative and interesting to watch than slideshows.
So that's one I made a while back. If I want to use that one, I just click Use, all right? And I want it for the entire PowToon, not necessarily just the current slide. And so now it's associated with my slides. So if I click on slide 1, even though I don't have anything visually here, I took it back to 0 seconds. If I press play.
A PowToon is an animated video, like the one you're watching right now.
So if I just kind of let that play, it'll do the whole 1 minute and 4 seconds that I recorded my voiceover. All right. So at this point, you've got your voiceover on there. You're good to go, and we can start making it look really good. And we want the timing of things. So you guys saw an example where at a certain second, maybe at 4 seconds, a person came on, and at 6 seconds, some text showed up. I'm going to show you how to get the images on there, and then how to get them to show up at certain times. All right, so we're still working with slide 1. So first thing I want to do is I want to take a look over here. This is where you're going to be getting different backgrounds and different scenes. So let's say that I want to choose a background to have for my slide. So you can go down here. There are a lot of free images that you can use. There's different colored backgrounds, abstract backgrounds, and even different textures that you can use. So whatever you click on, it'll kind of give you a sense of what that's going to look like. So that's a textured background. Let's take a look at locations, see what they have available. So maybe I want that background to be there for the 10 seconds I have it. They've got another one here. Some of them are more interesting than others. Just depends on what you want. So I'll just pick a textured background. We'll go to that blue one I had first. All right. And then you can add text in here. There's different things you could do, different text overlays. So if I clicked on hello, that's going to show up, and you can change the writing. So let's just say I'll double click that. Nope. Say hi. And then welcome to PowToon. You can also move things around wherever you want them to be on the page. You don't have to keep them where they're at. But everything that I put on here right now, it's showing that on your timeline at half of a second into the video, this is going to show up. All right. So right now, if I click on that, this shows me, and this is below your timeline, this shows me these things that come in. Let's say I want this to show up at 1 second. So I'm literally clicking it and dragging it to 1 second. And if I click that, this blue marker here on the timeline shows how long it's going to last. So this right up here is going to last from 1 second to 10 seconds. All right, let's say I don't want it to last that long. I'll click over here. You see the double arrow on the bottom. You click and you could drag it backward. So maybe I just want it to last from 1 second to 4 seconds. All right, so now let's move our cursor back and we could just try it out.
A PowToon is an animated video, like the one you're watching.
You see how it came in at 1 second and it left at 4 seconds. All right. You want it to time out really well. So with the fact that my voice doesn't start until later, we might want to bring this image over a little bit more. So let's see when my voice starts.
A PowToon is
at 2 seconds. So we would just click and drag this over to 2 seconds. We can have this right here. And maybe I don't want it to say hi because I begin by saying a PowToon is. So I would say, what is a PowToon? All right, now that's huge. So I'm going to make that much smaller. So again, let's double check when that comes in.
a PowToon is an
I'll move it over a little bit more. Let's check the timing.
A PowToon is an animated video.
Maybe we'll come in at 2.5 seconds.
A PowToon is an animated video.
Notice that came in exactly when my voice started. All right. Now let's say I also want to have a person. All right. So that was just text. We have characters here. And what you're going to have to pay attention to, this is really important, is where you see that it says Pro. All right. So this one says Pro Plus, Pro Plus. Those all cost money. You guys aren't going to be spending any money for this. All right. There are free things. Notice The Office is free. Pleasant Style is free. So if you click on these, it's actually going to give you people that you could be. All right. So maybe I want to choose that person. And your people they can be resized, but they can do different things. So if I click up here, this says pose right above there. You have different things that your person can do. It could be typing. Your person can be pointing and looking like they're talking. Whatever you want. They could be sleeping. It doesn't matter. All right. So let's have this person just waving. You can even flip that person however you want. And the last thing that you need to realize is if you go to settings, you can actually decide how you want that person to show up. Do you want it to come in from the right, from the left, down? Do you want them to just pop up? So let's say we want to stick with her coming in from the right. All right. You can also do an effect where you add in a hand. All right. And I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. All right. So right now, if I click on this person down on the bottom, it's showing that she's going to stay there for the whole length of that slide. All right. So if I want her to stay for the length of that slide, that's fine. But here's what this is going to look like so far.
A PowToon is an animated video, like the one you're watching right now.
Okay, so I've got the timing down. The last thing that you want to keep in mind when it comes to your narration is what you do on this screen has to make sense. It's a female's voice, so of course I want a female looking like they're talking. When I say what a PowToon is, I've got text that comes on here that says, what is a PowToon? Because it's going along with the narration. So at 6 seconds, I'm about to say something else. You've got to think about visually what else would look good at that point. So let's see what else I say.
Now, it takes time to make these, but they're far more creative.
Okay, I say it takes time to make these, but they're far more creative. I didn't finish that thought. That's where you're going to need to add on some time. So if I add on seconds, let's add on 5 seconds. Let's see what I finish saying.
More creative and interesting to watch than slideshows.
All right, it's far more interesting and creative to watch than slideshows, and that stopped at about 12.5 seconds. So I can actually move my slide down to about 13 seconds and see.
Rather than simply.
Okay, let's move it a little bit back further.
Than slideshows.
Okay, so you want it to end where your thought ends. So I finished my sentence at 12 seconds. And I'm about to start another sentence, which can be put on a second slide. All right, so just understand that each slide needs to have your full sentence. You don't want a slide to end before you finish talking. So I talk about between 6 seconds and 12 seconds. I talk about how using PowToons is more creative. What could we visually put in here that would show something being more creative? They have different props that you can use. So if you go to the props, I want you to, again, notice Pro Plus. These are all going to cost you money, so you need to go to the free ones. All right? So if we click on free, there are a lot of different props that are in here. So we're looking for something that would show more creativity. All right? So if you're creative, you're probably going to have like a gear. Could be like, oh, the gears in your mind are working a lot better. You could have a thumbs up and a brain because you're thinking more. So think about what you can use to show that you're being more creative. All right, so let's put in those gears that are working. So if I click on one, I click on another, I get both of my gears. All right. Now, right now, those are showing that both gears are coming in at 11.5 seconds. We want them to actually come in around 6.5, 7 seconds, because that's when I start talking about more creative. So I'm going to click on those, and if something comes in at the same time, you'll see them both up here. Click on the one you want. So I'll click on that gold gear, and then at the bottom I can move that to come in at about, let's do 6.5 seconds, and then I'll click on this one and I'll have it come in at about 7 seconds. All right, and I'm fine with them lasting that whole time. You can also, I don't know if this one has an effect, but we can show, yeah, it just pops up, so that's fine. So let's see what my first slide looks like. We'll do the whole thing. So we'll move that back.
A PowToon is an animated video, like the one you're watching right now. It takes time to make these, but they're far more creative and interesting.
Ooh, hold on a second. These don't come in at the right time. So I'm going to actually move these back for now. I talk about time. It takes time. There is a clock I can add in. All right? So I want that clock to come in when I say the word time. All right? So let's see about these. Okay. We'll move this back here, and we'll figure out where I say the word time.
Now, it takes time to make these.
7.5 seconds. That's my guess.
It takes time to make these, but...
Perfect. Now that's really tiny, so we'll make it large and put it kind of right here. And I don't want that to last the whole length of the video. I want it to disappear before these two get here. I want these to come up when I say creative. So let's see where I say creative.
But they're far more creative.
9.5 seconds. So these are going to come in at 9.5 and 10 seconds. And then the clock is going to stop at 9 seconds. So it should disappear before those come in.
It takes time to make these, but they're far more creative and interesting to watch than...
All right, I need to have that stop a little earlier. And let's try it one last time.
Watching right now. It takes time to make these, but they're far more creative and interesting to watch than slideshows.
Done. That is my first slide. All right, that is only 12 seconds. Do you see the length of time that has already taken me to do this? This is why I'm giving you guys like 7 or 8 days to get this done. After that, what you're going to do is come over here, click Add Slide, okay? And you're going to notice that it starts you all over again from 0 to 10 seconds. That's because that's just the length of that individual slide. All right? So if I go back to slide 1 and I press play, let's just move this back here. You'll notice now that I have a second slide, this cursor up here will end at 12 seconds, and then the second slide will pop up, and it'll keep playing my narration. All right? So
watch than slideshows. Rather than simply stating the information that you research.
So right now I don't have any here. This is the second slide. I haven't designed it yet. I haven't put things in there. So you don't have to keep the same background though. So now that I'm on this second slide, you can change your background if you want, and it doesn't matter what you do. We don't want videos. Hold on. I mean, you could do, they've got images. They've got like free images on Flickr. So if you find an image that you want, just make sure it makes sense with what you're doing, all right? But like I said, you can change that background to whatever you want. You could put in different shapes. Again, just make sure you're using things that are free. But the timing of everything you put in here has to make sense. And the biggest thing I could tell you when it comes to the slides is you need to adjust the length of time it shows that individual slide based on your narration. I told you that you want the slides to end when you finish a sentence, like you finish a thought. All right? So you might be somebody, in a matter of 3 minutes, you might be somebody who has 5 slides. Or you might be somebody who has 10 slides. It depends on your narration. All right? So the first thing you're going to do, I don't think I need to show you anything more on here other than how to make sure you saved it. But the first thing you're going to do is physically write out what you want to say. And it has to be said within 3 minutes. The PowToon cannot last longer than 3 minutes, and that is because of the website, not because of me. So before I have you write your narration, if you look up here at the very top, you're going to label it, whatever it is you want to label it. I'm just going to write practice, okay? And then you're going to click save. You want to save this throughout the whole time you're doing it, all right? When you're done, there's a way for us to export it to a, hold on.
PowToon is an animated video.
Let me pause it, hold on. There's a way to export your PowToon so that we can put it on like YouTube or things like that so that other people can view it. So just realize that is something we'll do at the very end. But in this same area up here, you can preview it. That's why I had to pause it. All right. I don't think there's anything else that I need to show you, but the first day you're probably just going to be playing around with a lot of the things on the left. You'll probably be playing around with the timing. And don't forget, if you ever have any questions, you can always go to the tutorials. All right. So if you just go to templates or not templates, but if you just go to help over here, it does tutorials. So let me show you that again. Go over here to the quick menu, go to help, click tutorials, and it'll take you to all the videos that are going to show you how to make a PowToon, information before you make one. How do you use that timeline that I told you about? So there's different things. Writing your script, which is your narration. How do you do a voiceover? So even though I've shown you those things, you guys can do them on your own as well.